Hi Simon, it's Bernard here from Canada.
So Simon, I saw your video the other day about second-hand golf clubs and how much they cost. So I thought I'd give you a quick shout out with mine.
What's in your bag was the silver lining of my YouTube lockdown experience, the series that kept me sane and gave you guys a load of interest and advice, something a bit different that hasn't been done on YouTube before. Basically, you guys have sent me your bags, what you've got, what you've not got, what you're thinking about getting, and I'll give you advice on second-hand clubs or cheap alternatives to obviously fill that gap, or maybe don't even bother, maybe work on your swing, etc. Season 2 is here. Let me explain more. Also, quickly, big thanks to Sandford Springs Golf Club that's let me film late in the evenings. Course is looking great. I've got the Lynx VT irons in the bag to obviously hit. If you didn't see yesterday's video, I suggest you go and watch it. We've got some interesting content to come. So the support on last series, and I want to say last series because I do want to make these what's in your bags more entertaining. When obviously restrictions lift, I want to go and meet people, other golf courses, come to your driving range, whatever. We go through your golf bag, you hit them, I tell you what potentially you should need or don't need, or what you think you need, and I go, well, actually, do you need that? And it just makes it a bit more interactive. However, for the meantime, I've set up a new email, because my business email, sasgolfacademy@gmail.com, had over 350 what's in your bags sent to it, to the point that I had to then pay premium to obviously have enough storage on my email. So I've set up a separate one altogether, just so it's very easy for me to go through them, and that is called what's in your golf bag at gmail.com. And also, I was quite naive in saying that I was going to get back to everyone, because after a while, and I spend 5-10 minutes, even if I'm doing it in a video or just replying to someone's email, 5-10 minutes times 350 is obviously a lot of time, and I was naive to say that I could reply to everyone. So all I'm going to say is that I'm going to try and get the most interesting normal questions or normal bags that I normally get to then answer. So if you don't obviously get your bag reviewed on film, or I don't get back to you, hopefully some of the videos that I'll put out in the future will answer your questions, and I can only apologize if I don't get it, or the video doesn't load, or your email doesn't get to me, which did happen quite a lot. Now I know I'm doing a lot of talking, and I will stop that. The other thing I ask, if you video your bag, just film it that way. Don't film it that way, because it just makes it a lot better for us to all watch it on, well, this. Okay, so I'm now going to do 3 bags from my old email address. By all means, if you send me an email and I haven't replied to my old email address, just forward that to the new one. Make sure everything's attached, and hopefully I'll be able to get around to it. But Declan is first up. 10 handicap. Can obviously hit it, plays off 10. He's only been playing for a short while, pretty new to the game. However, he's got a bit of a gap at the top end of the bag. How does he fix it? Now, he has RBZ 10.5 stiff driver, which he hits the same distance as his 3-wood, which is key. It's really important from a golf coach or club fitter or anything to know your yardages between clubs. Now, he has a rescue that he hits 200 yards. He has a 2-iron that goes further than 200 yards, but then he finds it difficult to stop on the greens. His advice is, how does he stop the gap between those clubs, basically? Now, this is what I'd suggest. He could potentially, let's have a quick look at his bag, just so you guys can see exactly what's in it. So here's his bag here. So he's got some blades, which again I like. Obviously he plays off 10, so he's a good ball striker. He obviously doesn't need the distance or the help, and actually, by the sounds of it, he hits a very low ball, and I'll talk about that in a second. So those MB irons, I can't quite work out which ones those are, but they'd be good for him. Okay, they're not forgiving, but if he's new to the game, I like it, ball striking, etc. So he's got a Cleveland 3-wood there, which goes the same distance as his driver. Now that normally tells me that someone's hitting down on the ball way too much, which means their launch angle is too low, and that 3-wood is basically launching the ball at a much better angle rather than the driver. Driver's too low, probably spinning too much, because it is quite a forgiving driver. So it's not, the CG's at the back, not the front, hence more spin. So he's basically hitting these low cutting stingers with the driver, whereas the 3-wood's probably helping him get up in the air a bit more, bit less spin, i.e. both of them are going to go very similar distances, because the ball doesn't know what it's getting hit by. Now he loves this hybrid, 4 hybrid there in the bag, but it only goes 200 yards. 2-iron, again, has very low, he finds it very difficult to stop on the greens because, again, I think he's coming over the top. He says he plays a fade or a big slice. So again, I could say with my coaching hat on, Declan, sort out your swing path, your driver's going to go further, your hybrid's going to go further, and your 3-wood will probably stay quite similar. That will probably sort out your gapping issue. Or I would suggest getting another wood in the bag. Because you're struggling to get the ball to stop on the green, you want more height. And rescues, because the centre of gravity, again, smaller heads closer to the face, it's not going to give you the height that you need. Even though it's got the loft, I'd highly recommend potentially getting a 5-wood in there. Stiff 5-wood. I'd be very surprised if you wouldn't hit that 250 yards, 220 yards, and that would easily close the gap there. I don't think you've got 14 clubs in the bag, so I'm pretty sure you could add another one in it. Titleist 910, Titleist 913, Ping G series, anything with a stiff shaft, I'd go 18 degrees. That should close the gap. I hope that makes sense, but you can do one or two ways. Swing path, help that launch a bit, hit a bit more up on the golf ball, not as steep, or get another wood in the bag. Overall though, I love the bag. I'll get the price up for you. Paid 950 New Zealand for the entire bag, which, if I'm not mistaken, exchange rate is probably about £400. So for the whole bag, I think it looks great. I think you got a great price for it. Just have a play with a few woods at the top there until you find something that works. But you've been playing for a very short time, you're doing incredibly well, keep it up. Right, the next one is up from Roy, and Roy doesn't really ask for any advice in general, but I love the ethos of his bag. He keeps this bag in the car at all times because he doesn't like driving past golf courses not having the bag with him, and he basically gives you a breakdown of exactly what these were when they first came out and what he's paid for them, which I do love, and I love having a look through, and I imagine you guys like having a look as well. So he's got a Callaway Fusion ERC, which was like top of the range when it first came out, £400, which it was. He paid 25. Now it's not conforming, which is very interesting, because if it's not conforming, it doesn't mean you can't play golf with it. It just means you can't play competition golf with it. And for a lot of you guys that are starting, most people don't start playing competitive golf for the first 2-3 years, realistically. So by all means, it's not a major advantage, to be perfectly honest. It makes a bit of a funny sound. But apart from that, by all means, if you find a driver as good as that for £25, by all means, learn with it, practice with it, everything else. TaylorMade V-Steel woods, which I've done on the channel before, unbelievable. Revolutionary wood right there. £28 for the pair, which is just an absolute steal. £75 for the Mizuno. Let's just have a look at the bag, because the bag does look really good. Thank you for obviously filming this in landscape as well. So ERC driver at the top. It does look expensive. When it first came out, it does look expensive, and you can actually see how kind of shallow the head is. So again, this is just a low spinning machine. When you catch it, it's going to go a mile. However, forgiveness isn't necessarily the key for this driver. It's not a forgiving driver. It's one of those that you catch it, yes, it's going to go an absolute mile. However, if you don't, well, unfortunately, you're going to be quite far offline. These V-Steel woods I highly recommend to anyone that's just starting the game. Forgiving, they're very good for the summer as well, I should say, because the bounce, I find now woods nowadays just have such high bounce because they're trying to make it forgiving. They're trying to put a lot of CG to the front, and unfortunately, when it's dry like this, it's very difficult to get underneath the golf ball unless you hit down on it a lot, and also you need a lot of club head speed to do that as well. Those V-Steel woods sit very nicely at the address, so then obviously you can hit it and you feel confident over it. Some lovely MP62s here, Mizuno irons. You know what I feel about when it comes to Mizuno irons. Great club to obviously get. Roy, you did a fantastic job of filming your carpet for the majority of this video, so thank you ever so much for that. But overall, I think the bag looks great. Wilson Staff wedges at the bottom. I think it's just a great example of what you can do for your money. You don't have to spend a lot of cash to obviously build your golf bag, and I think he's done a great job for that, especially one that's just going to sit in the boot and obviously go and play a few summer days of golf. Roy, thank you for sending it in, appreciate it. Okay, last one here from Bernard, all the way from Canada. Thank you for sending this in. The gent is 6'6". He's a big boy, and I always find it very interesting giving someone that tall a club fit. Now obviously I can't see you swing it, I can't see give you different shafts and everything else, but obviously the immediate reaction is to give someone a really long club, which he's got 2 inches on the top of all of his irons, which is just like monstrous. Now, I'm not saying that you don't need that, but I need to know your arm length as well, especially if I was to do a proper fitting. But overall, the bag, SLGR, wood, great, M5, monster. He got a demo, but still in the wrapper, which again, very good. However, 4-8 wedge tailor-made burner 2.0. I'll get a picture of what these are if you don't know what they are. Basically, they are rockets. They're basically hybrids but irons, and 2 inches extended as well. So there's no wonder you're hitting your 4-iron 220 to 240 yards. Bernard says he shoots 75 to 85. I don't know where you miss your shots. I imagine it is irons. Obviously, this is what you're talking about. But you look at his distances there. I mean, he's hitting his pitching wedge 145, which I don't dispute. I mean, again, you're very tall, and those irons as well are very de-lofted. Chine Callaway X Forge 6.5 carries. Love to carry at 190, 195. I'm guessing that's probably more of your like 4-iron or 5-iron, but no left miss. Anything, I guess, slight right cut. Let's have a look at the bag. Tell you what, bag looks fantastic. I love the tour bag there. I imagine you're not carrying that around though. So bag looks fantastic. Now, yes, you're gonna get, so he's got, oh, there we go. Oh, it's okay, 6-iron, sorry. So he's got 1 6-iron X Forge in the bag at the moment. He loves it. Now, I can tell you why he loves it. First of all, he's got a stiff shaft in there, which is gonna stop that club face closing on the way down. He normally misses it left. So a stiffer shaft is definitely right. I think 6.5 again is a very good option, and also they're true lofts. And for someone that hits it so far, just like yourself, Bernard, you want more control, especially out the rough. Like if you've got a 6-iron in your hand or 7-iron and you're slight, like fluffy rough, and you've got your yardage and you hit it and wind helps a bit, that thing's going 210 yards because it just launches up there, no spin, and you get basically no control whatsoever over those shots, especially the cute ones. So yes, I would recommend either blades, because obviously you can strike it, or an X Forge like you've got there. I would go Apex Pro. You could go like Nike Vapor Pro, anything pro, anything forged. You just need true lofts now. 2 inches longer, however, I still think is too much for you personally. I know you're a tall lad, but again, like, it's the same reason that I quite like having only like a 1/4 inch or even standard length irons. I'm 6'1". Technically I should have 1/2 inch on top of it, but I just like hitting more punch shots, pitch shots. The better you get at this game, I'm not saying I'm good at this game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's less about distance. I'd rather hit my 7-iron 155 and just hit this nice cute cut in it, and I can do that with a smaller shaft because you just got more control over it. So I personally, without seeing you hit it, would recommend just getting an inch longer and just see how you get on. I'm not too sure what that 6-iron is at the moment. I mean, they look great condition, by the way, the burners, but they're just uncontrollable for you, especially for your club head speed and the distance you'll be hitting it. By all means, get a set like you've got in that X Forge there. Callaway do great X Forge clubs throughout. You could even go CBs from Titleist, Ping. Ping would be an interesting one. Realistically, Ping, the only thing I'd recommend now is the blueprint irons. I think Ping, regardless, I probably wouldn't go down that route for you because again, cast and just too de-lofted. But overall, I love the bag. Thank you ever so much for sending it in. I hope that kind of helped. So interestingly, it's got a bit dark now for potentially me going to review these VT irons. But overall, first of all, thank you to Sandford Springs. That's now going to let me to obviously film up here when it's nice and dead like this. It's now gone 8:45 in the evening and I've got the course myself. Highly recommend coming and playing this place if you're local to obviously my area. If you do want your bags reviewed, send them to that new email address. Thank you ever so much. If you like these videos, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, that's fantastic. Subscribing if you are new, that would be amazing. Catch you guys later.